came down here on the Woohoo! Well, how's everyone doing today? It's a beautiful January afternoon in Tucson, Arizona. Oh, buddy, the rest of you guys look so damn cold. Oh, I feel so bad for you. I'm out here riding with my buddy Andy. He's a Triumph and Royal Enfield enthusiast. As a matter of fact, he's the one that kind of got me switched on to the Royal Enfield to begin with. He kind of has a romantic story associated with the Royal Enfields and some members of his family that maybe if he ever feels like telling that story, I'll let him tell it. But if he decides not to, then at that point I'll disclose the whole way that he became interested in Royal Enfields. But he's got a beautiful Royal Enfield. He's got a brand new T100, the water-cooled version. I think it's a 2017. And just a beautiful bike. He's out there riding behind me right now. I don't know if you can see him in the mirror. But he had to come out here. He had been living out on the East Coast for a while, and knowing what it's like back there, he just moved back to Arizona, and he had to go out today and get some tasty ribbons of asphalt. So we headed out, and I gotta tell you, man, you know, I originally got the Scrambler, and knowing that it was going to sort of be a flip bike, a flipper bike, I was able to get it for a song, put very little monetary work into it, but a lot of my own personal labor into it, and get it running really good, and then sell it, and made a little bit on it, I ain't gonna lie, and that was exciting. And you know, I kind of had that mindset when I got the Scrambler, but folks, I have to tell you, I kind of wish I had it today. I think the Scrambler would go a little better with his T100 there as far as the buddy up riding system goes, but it's all good. The Bonnie didn't mind stepping in and carrying me today. So yeah, old Andy started talking to me a handful of years ago about Royal Enfield, and that's when I really started looking at him. And at the time, and you guys know how I feel about this, we actually had a dealership here, a little mom and pop dealership, and they'd let you go and touch and sit on the bikes and take them for a ride, and just it was a mom and pop store, so it was a very intimate experience with getting to know the bike before you even plunk the money down for it. And came real close to getting a new one back then, but then of course I came across Curry, and you know, Curry's my solid forever and ever. So it's kind of funny because he had this past experience with Royal Enfields, and he had these you know, a desire to own one, and I ended up owning one before he did. But since then, I think he's owned 3 now. I think he owned one, sold it, owned another one, he wrecked it. He had a car sort of run him off the road, and he had a choice between hitting the car or hitting the edge of the pavement. He slowed down and took the edge of the pavement, and that's where he ate it. So then he got the current one that he has. So he's had 3 in the time that I've had Curry. So he's definitely a connoisseur of the Royal Enfield, because he could tell you what the 3 different models were like. And of course, I think he's had, I think he's on his 3rd Bonneville now too. He had a mag Bonnie like this one for a while. I think it was silver. And then he had the black and tan, or the black and silver what do you call it? The black and silver T100. And he ended up trading that one in for his new T100, and so there he is. Yeah, he goes through bikes about like Captain Rambunctious. Anyway, just enjoying a nice little beat about on Tucson's east side. I mean, folks, I feel guilty when I have weather like this. It's just under 70 degrees right now. And I almost feel guilty for having this kind of weather right now, knowing that most of the rest of the country won't get above 20 degrees today. But y'all can have it. And you know what? I pay for it in the summertime. Riding around out here in 115 to 120. Man, just some wide open roads. So I just thought I'd drop in and say hi. Well, since I have you on the line here, we're going to talk about what's coming next for the old garage. So I have several schools of thought. I've already got this bike, and my wife doesn't ride it so much anymore. And it's kind of small for me. It's kind of short. I'm kind of cramped up on it. So there's getting rid of this bike and perhaps getting myself something that I want. And everybody knows I want the T120. So I'm going to just cut it down. For getting a new bike, we're talking about 3. All of them are in roughly the same price range, roughly the same displacement, a little askew on the performance aspect. For example, one of them is the T120. That's a 1200cc now. But I'm also looking at the BMW R9T, and the BMW R9T has a lot more power. Then I'm looking at the dark horse, and this is one that just came about, folks. And if you haven't seen this bike, you need to go look at it. It's the Kawasaki Z900 RS. And that is, I don't know what they're calling it, the retro sport, whatever they're calling it. But man, it looks an awful lot like the old 750 that I learned to ride on. And not only does it have that classic look, to me it looks just as good as the T120, but it's got the performance of the R9T packed into that inline 4-cylinder 900. And above and beyond those other bikes is that it's less expensive. And above and beyond those other bikes, the Z900 RS comes with a fully adjustable suspension from the factory. And everybody who's test ridden those things has said the suspension felt very capable. It wasn't one of these, oh, I would definitely progressive springs on the forks or this, that, and the other, which is what everyone says about both the new T120 and the R9T or the R19 Pure. So given that you could spend less money and less having to upgrade when it comes to suspension and performance, the Z900 RS looks like a very promising motorcycle. However, I'm also a cheapskate. And the cheapskate in me says, keep this bike, buy a set of racing rims, the ones with the fatter rear tire and the spokes, right? And TEC or Tech, Triumph parts, man, those guys are making some excellent parts. And you can, for like $400, just redo the entire suspension, new springs, adjustable preload on both the front and dampening in the back. I mean, just amazing suspension system would just change this bike dynamically. This bike right here, this model has been on the market long enough that you can get higher bars, which would help me sit better on it. I could put some off-road pegs like they make for the Scrambler, and those, when you take the rubber insert out, actually lowers the foot peg by about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So So that would make that a little more comfortable. And then of course there's all the regular stuff. There's a racing tune that you can purchase from Triumph to reprogram this computer for, say, an open air intake and an open exhaust, which are all things that I would do if I was just going to keep this bike to have it as a daily spank around motorcycle. And all of that would cost way less than getting a new motorcycle. And I think I would be just as happy, considering that I still have the Tiger for my long road trips, still have the Tiger for inclement weather. You know, if I'm going to ride to work and it's wet or super cold, I'm going to take the Tiger because it's got the hand warmers and it's got the ABS and all that good stuff for when you get on the slick roads and in the rain. And it's got a lot more protection, wind protection, the tall windscreen, the tank acts as a fairing. So I really like the idea of doing that as well. So all of these things are possibilities. The Z900 for me was a dark horse. I had no idea that bike was coming out until it came out, and when it did, I saw it and fell in love with it. And so an interesting thing here in Tucson is that our Triumph dealer is also a Kawasaki dealer. So guess what? I'll be able to go in there and look at a T120 black sitting right next to the black version of the Kawasaki Z900 RS. So how's that? T120 Z900 RS sitting right next to each other. No doubt in my mind that I'll get a good idea which one I'm going to want more. So that's kind of cool. If you guys haven't been there, they're at AZKKTT on Instagram, and from there you can get to their website and all that good stuff and go see what they've got. But anyway, that's where I'm at. This vlog has gone on way too long for just a simple bop around vlog. Everybody's out on bikes today. Everybody's out for a cruise today. You folks with the cold weather, you can have it, but if you still have internet, go watch some of my nice sunny sky, warm vlogs. I don't mean to rub it in, but you know what? When you folks back east are riding around in 75-degree weather when I've got 110, that's when you guys get to rub it in on me. Anyway, talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Helps if I hold the clutch in.